Babe, if you had one last sermon to preach, what would it be titled and why?
If I had one last sermon to preach, now I'm no Pastor Edgar. I'm still fresh in the game. But if I had one last sermon to preach, it would probably be Mark chapter 2, verses 18 to 22. And this is where Jesus calls Levi to follow him. And for those that don't know, Levi is Matthew, right? He changed his name to Matthew. And what happened is that Jesus calls Levi to follow him. He ends up going to his house. They end up having dinner there with a bunch of other people that are sinners, right? People that are sick. And at the same time, the Pharisees they see what's going on, and they pretty much said, yo, look at him. He's eating with scum. These are the Pharisees we're talking about. These are supposed to be the religious leaders. These are supposed to be the people that know the Torah, they know the Bible or whatever, hands down, they know the law, and they're calling these people scum, right? Yet Jesus is sitting with them. Why? Because Jesus said to them, I came for the sick, right? If you're sick in your body, you need a doctor. Those who are not sick don't need a physician. They don't need a doctor, right? Basically, I came for the people who know that they're sinful. I came for the people who were willing to accept me, right? And he ends up saying, well, then they try to flip it on him and say, well, how come your disciples don't fast like John's disciples do, or these people do, right? And then Jesus goes on to sit there and he says, well, they don't need to fast. I'm paraphrasing. They don't need to fast because the groom is here. Right? When the groom is here, you don't need to fast, right? In other words, when the bridegroom has come, there's no need for a fast. Why would you have a fast if the groom is already here at a wedding? There's no need to fast, right? In other words, he said you can't pour new wine into old wineskins, right? And the reason why you can't do that is because if you do, then the wineskin is going to burst and all the wine is going to fall to the ground. Now you don't have a wineskin, nor you have new wine at all, right? In other words, you got to make room for me, right? And I would tell the people to understand this, the importance about that wine, right? And knowing that wine is new, is that Jesus came and he proposed to us with the wine. And when he proposed to us with the wine, he then went back to the Father and he asked the Father, can I make room for me and my bride in your house? And what we have to understand is that Jewish culture was the man would ask the woman to marry him with the wine. Amen. And when she said yes, he would go back to his village or go back to his kingdom. And then he would go and ask his father, the king, can he build a room on? And then when the father said yes, he would build that room. And that's where the bride and the groom would dwell for eternity. The message that I would be teaching the people is that, number one, Jesus came for the sick. Jesus proposed to the sick. That may be the message right there. Jesus proposed to the sick, not the healthy, or not the ones that think they're healthy, right? I don't know if I would have a subtitle for it, but the title of the message would be, Jesus came to propose to the sick.